Hello all, welcome to the next session on storage area networks. So in the last session of this module 4, in the previous session, we had discussed what are the cloud enabling technologies. We also discussed the characteristics of cloud computing, followed by the benefits of cloud computing and the cloud service models. In this video sessions, we'll be discussing the cloud deployment models, cloud computing infrastructure, the cloud challenges, and the cloud adoption considerations. So welcome you all to the next video session on storage area networks module 4. So we'll discuss all these things, the benefits of cloud service models, that is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Today's session, let us try to discuss what do we mean by the cloud deployment models. Cloud deployment model specifies the way in which we will be using, or the type, the infrastructure or the access control that we have for accessing the cloud resources. That is what we call as the cloud deployment models. There are 4 types of cloud deployment models here. We have the public cloud, the private cloud, the community cloud, and the hybrid cloud. So these are the 4 cloud deployment models. Let's try to understand each of these cloud deployment models in detail. First, we have the public cloud. In public cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for open use by the general public. It may be owned, managed, and operated by a business, academic, or a government organization, or some combination of them. Public cloud exists on the premises of the cloud provider. Consumers use the cloud services offered by the providers through the internet and pay metered usage charges or subscription fees. So in a public cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for open use by the general public. It's meant for the public access. So it may be owned, managed, and operated by a business, academic, or government organization, or a combination of them. So here the condition is public cloud exists on the premises of the cloud provider, and consumers use the cloud services offered by the providers through the internet and pay metered usage charges or subscription fees. An advantage of the public cloud is its low capital cost with enormous scalability. We can easily scale the resources for this public cloud. It offers the advantage of low capital cost. However, for consumers, these benefits also comes with certain risks. So what are these risks? So first risk is there is no control over the resources in the cloud. The security of the confidential data is also a concern. Network performance may also be an issue, and then the interoperability issues. So since the consumers will be sharing the data over the public cloud, so they may have no control over the resources in the cloud. They may have some issues regarding the confidentiality or the security of their confidential data. There may be some issues related to network performance as well as the interoperability issues. So these are some of the risks associated with the public cloud. Public cloud service providers include Amazon, Google, and Salesforce.com. So we have this diagram here that shows the public cloud that provides the cloud services to the organizations and individuals. So the risk associated is the security of the confidential data and no control over the resources in the cloud, network performance, and the interoperability issues. So this figure shows the public cloud that provides cloud services to organizations and the individuals. So we have a public cloud, so that may be used by an enterprise P, that may be used by one more enterprise, or it may also be used by a user. So these are all the resources. But the condition here is that the public cloud should exist in the environment, or it should exist in the premises of the cloud service provider. So that is the public cloud. Let us try to understand what is private cloud now. In a private cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a single organization comprising multiple consumers. For example, the different business units. One corporate company, they may implement their own cloud that is meant only for that particular organization. So we call it as a private cloud. It's provisioned for the exclusive use by a single organization comprising multiple consumers. It may be owned, managed, and operated by the organization, a third party, or some combination of them, and it may exist on or off premises. Unlike the public cloud, where it should exist within the premises of the service provider, that is not the case in case of the private cloud. It may be owned, managed, and operated by the organization or a third party or some combination of them, and it may exist on or off the premises of the service provider. Following are the two variations of the private cloud model. There are two variations of the private cloud deployment model. We have something called as on-premise private cloud and externally hosted private cloud. Let us first see what we mean by on-premise private cloud. The on-premise private cloud, also known as the internal cloud, is hosted by an organization within its own data centers. So the on-premise private cloud, also known as the internal cloud, it's hosted by an organization within its own data centers. This model enables organizations to standardize their cloud service management processes and security, although this model has limitations in terms of size and resource scalability. This on-premise cloud deployment model, on-premise private cloud deployment model enables organizations to standardize their cloud service management processes and security, but it has some limitations in terms of the size and the resource scalability. Organizations would also need to incur the capital and operational costs for the physical resources as well. Now, this on-premise private cloud deployment is best suited for organizations that require complete control over their applications, infrastructure configurations, and security mechanisms. So, on-premise private cloud deployment is also known as internal cloud. It is hosted by an organization within its own data centers. Here, the organizations would need to incur the capital and the operational cost for the physical resources, and it is best suited for the organizations that require complete control over their applications, infrastructure configurations, and the security mechanisms. So this is a diagram that represents on-premise private cloud deployment. It is meant to be used only by an organization, and it is deployed using the data centers that is owned by only this organization. The data centers will also be owned by the data centers that is required for deploying this cloud will be also present in the same premises. It's also known as the internal cloud. All the cost of the deployment, all the cost of the resources, the operational cost, the infrastructure cost should be paid by the same organization. So cost of deployment is very high, and it is not that scalable. There may be some issue related to the size and the scalability of such a cloud deployment model. So that is our on-premise private cloud deployment model. Let us proceed with the second type or the second variant of the private cloud. We call it as an external hosted private cloud deployment model. Externally hosted private cloud deployment model is it's a type of private cloud again, which is hosted external to an organization and is managed by a third party organization. Unlike on-premises private cloud, externally hosted private cloud is hosted external to an organization and is managed by a third party organization. In case of on-premises private cloud, it was managed by the same organization. There was no question of a third party. Here the cloud will be hosted external to an organization by a third party and managed by a third party organization. It is not local to that particular premises. The third party organization facilitates an exclusive cloud environment for a specific organization with full guarantee of privacy and confidentiality. So the burden or the overhead of operating costs or the management of the cloud infrastructure is less for the organization which is using the cloud services here. So the third party organization facilitates an exclusive cloud environment for a specific organization with full guarantee of privacy and confidentiality. So there is no risk of privacy and confidentiality, or the risk we can say it is minimum in case of externally hosted private cloud deployment model. As we can see, we have an organization that uses the services of a private cloud which is external to it and is managed by a third party. organization. So that is our externally hosted private cloud deployment model. Now let us proceed to the third type of private cloud deployment model. We have something called as a community cloud. In a community cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a specific community of consumers from organizations that have the shared concerns. For example, it may be mission, it may be the security requirements, it may be the policy, or it may be compliance considerations. So the community cloud model, here the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a specific community of consumers from organizations that have shared concerns. It may be owned, managed and operated by one or more organizations in the community, a third party or some combination of them, and it may exist on or off the premises of the organization. In a community cloud, the costs spread over to fewer consumers than a public cloud. Hence, this option is more expensive but might offer a higher level of privacy, security and compliance. Now this community cloud, it may be owned, managed and operated by one or more of the organizations in a given community, or a third party or some combination of them, and it may exist on the premises or off the premises. So in this community cloud model, the costs spread over to fewer consumers than the public cloud. Hence the option might be a bit more expensive but also offers higher level of privacy, security and the compliance. The community cloud also offers organizations access to vast pool of resources compared to the private cloud. So compared to the private cloud, which offers very limited resources, the community cloud offers the organizations access to a vast pool of resources. An example in which a community cloud could be useful is government agencies. If various agencies within the government operate under similar guidelines, they could all share the same infrastructure and lower their agency's investment. So that is an example for community cloud. So it's best suitable for government agencies, where various agencies within the government can operate under similar guidelines. So this diagram represents the community cloud. So we have multiple organizations or a community of organizations which rely on the services of a community cloud. So this community cloud offers all these organizations access to a vast pool of resources. So that is the community cloud. So remember, in case of private cloud, in case of the private cloud here, so we have on-premises cloud, we have the externally hosted private cloud, and then we have the community cloud. So in community cloud, more than one organizations can share a vast pool of resources of cloud resource, right? So that is our community cloud. So we just discussed public cloud, private cloud. Under private cloud we have on-premise private cloud and externally hosted private cloud, and then we discuss the community cloud. That is the third type of cloud deployment model. And lastly, we have something called as a hybrid cloud. In a hybrid cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is a combination or a composition of two or more distinct cloud infrastructures, maybe the private cloud, the community cloud or the public cloud, that remain unique entities but are bound together by standardized or proprietary technology that enables data and application portability. For example, cloud bursting for load balancing between the clouds. So in a hybrid cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is a composition of two or more distinct cloud infrastructure. It's a combination of maybe a private cloud with the public cloud, or a private cloud with the community cloud, or a community cloud with the public cloud, and so on. So here the cloud infrastructures remain unique entities but are bound together by standardized or proprietary technology that enables the data and the application portability. For example, cloud bursting for for the load balancing between the clouds. That is the best example for implementing the hybrid cloud. The hybrid model allows an organization to deploy less critical applications and data to the public cloud, leveraging the scalability and the cost effectiveness of the public cloud. So this hybrid cloud model enables an organization to deploy less critical applications and the data to the public cloud, leveraging the scalability and the cost effectiveness of the public cloud. So all the data need not be stored as a public cloud. So less critical data and the application can be moved to the public cloud if you are using the hybrid cloud, whereas other data can be moved to the private cloud. So thereby getting the benefit of scalability and cost effectiveness of the public cloud. Now the organization's mission critical applications and data remain on the private cloud that provides greater security. So all our critical data can be stored on the private cloud that offers greater security. This is a diagram that represents the hybrid cloud. Here you can see it's a combination of public cloud as well as the private cloud, right? So we can combine both these private and the public cloud to form a hybrid cloud model. So that is, these are the four types of the cloud deployment models. We have the public cloud, we have the private cloud, under which we have on-premise private cloud and externally hosted private cloud, and then we have the community cloud followed by the hybrid cloud. So four types of cloud deployment models. Now let us proceed with something called as the cloud computing infrastructure. A cloud computing infrastructure is a collection of hardware and software that enables the 5 essential characteristics of cloud computing. If you can recall, in the previous video session we had discussed the characteristics of cloud computing. So a cloud computing infrastructure is a collection of the hardware and the software that enables 5 essential characteristics of cloud computing. Cloud computing infrastructure, as shown in this particular diagram, usually consists of the following layers. We have the physical infrastructure layer. Over that we have the virtual infrastructure layer, then we have the applications and platform software, and then we have cloud management and service creation tools. So these are the 4 different layers of the cloud computing infrastructure. Let us try to understand each of these layers one by one. Physical infrastructure. The physical infrastructure consists of the physical computing resources, which include the physical servers, storage systems and the networks. Physical servers in the physical infrastructure are connected to each other, to the storage systems and to the clients via the networks such as the IP, FCSAN, IPSAN or the FCOE switches. So the physical infrastructure layer consists of the physical computing resources such as the servers, the storage systems and the networks. Cloud services the cloud service providers may use the physical computing resources from one or more data centers to provide the services. If the computing resources are distributed across multiple data centers, connectivity must be established among them. So the cloud service providers may use physical cloud computing or the physical computing resources from one or more data centers to provide services. The connectivity enables the data centers in different locations to work as a single large data center. This enables migration of business applications across the data centers and provisioning cloud services using resources from multiple data centers. So that is the physical infrastructure layer, which consists of the computing resources such as the physical servers, storage and the networks, where the physical servers are connected to the storage system and to the network and to the clients via the networks such as the IP, the FCSAN, FCOE or the IPSAN. The cloud service providers may use the physical computing resources from one or more data centers to provide the services. Now this enables the migration of business applications and the data across the data centers and provisioning cloud services using the resources from multiple data centers. So that is our physical infrastructure of the cloud computing infrastructure, or the physical infrastructure layer. The second layer we have is called as a virtual infrastructure layer. Let us see what is this virtual infrastructure layer. Cloud service providers employ virtualization technologies to build a virtual infrastructure layer on top of the physical infrastructure layer. So cloud service providers employ virtualization techniques to build a virtual infrastructure layer on top of the physical infrastructure. Virtualization enables fulfilling some of the cloud characteristics such as resource pooling and rapid elasticity. We had already discussed rapid elasticity in the previous video session. So this virtualization enables fulfilling some of the cloud characteristics such as resource pooling and rapid elasticity. It also helps to reduce the cost of providing the cloud services. Some of the cloud service providers may not have completely virtualized their physical infrastructure yet, but they are adopting virtualization for better efficiency and optimization. Virtualization is required for better efficiency and optimization of the physical infrastructure. Virtualization abstracts the physical computing resources and provides a consolidated view of the resource capacity. The consolidated resources are managed as a single entity called as a resource pool. Apart from the resource pool, the virtual infrastructure layer also includes identity pools such as virtual LAN ID pools or the virtual SAN ID pools. The number of each type of pool and the pool capacity depends on the cloud service provider's requirements to create different cloud services. Virtual infrastructure also includes virtual computing resources such as the virtual machines, virtual storage volumes, and the virtual networks. These resources obtain capacities such as the CPU power, memory, network bandwidth, and the storage space from the resource pools. The capacity is allocated to the virtual computing resources easily and flexibly based on the service requirement. Virtual networks are created using the network identifiers such as the virtual LAN IDs and the virtual SAN IDs from the respective identity pools. Virtual computing resources are used for creating cloud infrastructure services. So that is the virtual infrastructure layer of the cloud computing infrastructure. So virtualization enables fulfilling some of the cloud characteristics such as resource pooling and rapid elasticity. Virtualization abstracts the physical computing resources and provides a consolidated view of the resource capacity. Virtualization or the virtual infrastructure also includes the virtual computing resources such as the virtual machines, the virtual storage, and the virtual storage volumes. Virtual networks are created using the network identifiers such as the virtual LAN and the virtual SAN IDs. So virtual computing resources are used for creating cloud infrastructure services. So that is the virtual infrastructure layer. The next layer that we have is the application and the platform software. So this layer, that is the application and platform software layer, includes a suite of business applications and the platform software such as the operating system and the database. So applications and platform software layer includes a suite of business applications and the platform software such as the operating system and the database. Platform software provides the environment on which business applications run. So using the platform software, so it acts as a base for running the business applications. Applications and the platform software are hosted on virtual machines to create software as a service and platform as a service. Right? So we have discussed the different service models. We have discussed infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, and the software as a service. So application and the platform software are hosted on the virtual machines to create SaaS, that is software as a service, and the platform as a service. Both the application and the platform software are provided by the cloud service providers. In case of, for the software as a service, both the application and the platform are provided by the cloud service providers, whereas for the platform as a service, only the platform software is provided by the cloud service providers. Consumers export their applications to the cloud. So in case of software as a service, both the applications and the platform will be provided by the cloud service providers, whereas in the case of platform as a service, only the platform will be provided by the cloud service providers, whereas the consumers, they themselves have to export their applications onto the cloud. So that is the application and the platform software layer. And lastly, we have the cloud management and the service creation tools layer. So we discussed the physical infrastructure, the virtual infrastructure layer, and applications and platform software layer. Now let us try to discuss the topmost layer of the cloud computing infrastructure, that is cloud management and service creation tools. The cloud management and service creation tools layer, it includes three types of softwares in turn. Right, it consists three different types of software. The cloud management and service creation tools, it includes three different types of software, that is physical and virtual infrastructure management software, unified management software, and user access management software. So these are the three types of softwares that are included in the cloud management and service creation layer, service creation tools layer. Let us look at each of these types of software in a bit more detail. Firstly, we have the physical and virtual infrastructure management software. The physical and the virtual infrastructure management software is offered by the vendors of various infrastructure resources and third-party organizations. For example, a storage array has its own management software. Similarly, network and physical servers are managed independently using the network compute management software respectively. This software provides interfaces to construct virtual infrastructure from its underlying physical infrastructure. So physical and virtual infrastructure management software is offered by the vendors of various infrastructure resources and the third-party organizations. For example, a storage array comes with its own management software. Similarly, the network and physical servers, they are also managed independently using the network and compute management software respectively. The software provides interfaces to construct a virtual infrastructure from the underlying physical infrastructure. So that is our physical and virtual infrastructure management software. Now let us try to understand what do you mean by unified management software. Unified management software interacts with all standalone physical and virtual infrastructure management service. So this unified management software, it interacts with all the standalone physical and virtual infrastructure management software. So unified management software collects the information on the existing physical and virtual infrastructure configuration, connectivity, and utilization. So it collects information on the existing physical and virtual infrastructure configuration, connectivity, and utilization. Unified management software compiles this information and provides a consolidated view of the infrastructure resources scattered across one or more data centers. So unified management software compiles all the information after collecting it from the physical and virtual infrastructure configurations and provides a consolidated view of the infrastructure resources scattered across one or more data centers. Unified management software also allows an administrator to monitor the performance, capacity, and the availability of physical and virtual resources centrally. So there has to be a software for managing the entire cloud resources, such as the capacity, performance, availability, and so on. So unified management software allows the administrator to monitor the performance, capacity, and the availability of the physical and the virtual resources centrally. It also provides a single management interface to control the physical and the virtual infrastructure and integrate the compute, both the CPU and the memory, along with the network and the storage pools. So it is used to integrate the servers, the network, and the storage pools together. The unified management software passes the configurations commands to the respective physical and virtual infrastructure management software, which executes the instructions. The key function of the unified management software is to automate the creation of the cloud services. It enables the administrators to define the service attributes such as what is the CPU power that is required, the memory, the network bandwidth, storage capacity, name and description of the applications and the platform software, resource location, and backup policy. The unified management software enables the administrators to define the service attributes such as the CPU power, the memory, network bandwidth, and the storage capacity, along with the name and description of the applications and the platform software, resource location, and the backup policy. When unified management software receives consumer requests from the cloud services, it creates the service based on predefined service attributes. So when the unified management software receives consumer requests for cloud services, it creates the service based on the predefined attributes. So that is a unified management access, or the unified management software of the cloud management and service creation tool layer. And lastly, we have user access management software. Let us see what is this. The user access management software provides a web-based user interface to the consumers. The consumers can use the interface to browse the service catalog and request cloud services. So user access management software provides a web-based user interface to the consumers, using which the consumers can browse the service catalog and request for cloud services. The user access management software authenticates users before forwarding their request to the unified management software. It also monitors allocation of or usage of resources associated to the cloud service instances. Based on the allocation or usage of resources, it generates a chargeback report. So based on the allocation or the usage of resources, user access management software generates a chargeback report. The chargeback report is visible to the consumers and provides transparency between the consumers and the providers. So that is the user access management software, which provides a web-based user interface to the consumers, using which the consumers can browse the catalog and request for cloud services. So the user access management software authenticates the users before forwarding their request to the unified management software. The user access management software also monitors the allocation and the usage of the requests associated with the cloud service instances, and based on the allocation of the users of the resources, the user access management software generates a chargeback report. So these are the three different softwares of the cloud management service creation tools. So these are the four layers we just discussed. We have the physical infrastructure layer, the application infrastructure, we have the application and platform software, and we have the cloud management and service creation tools. So in today's session, we discussed the different types of cloud deployment models, that is the public cloud, the private cloud, the community cloud, and the hybrid cloud. We also discussed that in private cloud we have something called as two instances. We have on-premises private cloud and externally hosted private cloud. And then we discuss the cloud computing infrastructure layers. We have the physical infrastructure, the virtual infrastructure layer, application and platform software, and the cloud management and service creation tools. Under cloud management and service creation tools, we have three different types of software, that is physical and virtual infrastructure management software, the unified management software, and the user access management software. With that, let us conclude this video session, online video session. Thank you.